that's a thumb opener, it's going to open with a thumb stud or something like that, you're not going to be able to apply as much pressure into it. So you're going to want to have your detent be closer to your pivot. If you're doing a flipper, you want more of a harsh detent. You want it to be a little bit farther away, perhaps, and in a more stable place, like I showed. You know, this versus this, so that you get that better flipping action. But this right here, this circumstance is kind of a very wide range of things that can happen. And you don't really want this to happen, because you have to choose a very small detent ball for down here and possibly end up breaking the lock face out completely because you drilled a hole right through the very apex of it. Or you get this to up here, which doesn't give you the action you want. So something has to change, obviously, if you want the detent to be in a more appropriate place. And you can make that change by doing this. You could put it here, but you see that the stop pin track is right there. So your blade's going to have to be somewhere down here before the stop pin before the detent gets onto the blade. You know, this. Like right now, detent's not on, and now it's resisting. Now it's on the blade. If you put the detent there and did everything else the same with the stop and everything, your blade would be here before your detent got on. And that's kind of a crappy feeling. You can fix this by moving your stop pin from here up to here, which in the closed position moves it from there to here. And then adjusting for all dimensions. And you see that the detent's in that's a much more appropriate distance for it to travel before it gets onto the blade. So now you can put the detent almost anywhere you want and have everything work exactly the way you want. You get a strong stop pin, a strong lock, and a detent that's anywhere you want it to be. And everything fits your design. I didn't have to change hardly anything about my design at all to make it all mechanically feasible. And then that's it. You decide what materials you want. If you want to do bolsters, you have it like that. Decide what grinds you want. I don't know, you could have it come up like this and down. I don't know, you want a crazy compound grind. Let's say you want a giant swedge tip. It doesn't matter. You can do anything else after that besides that point, because all your mechanics have been determined. And that's the process. I'm not going to get into fabrication and, you know, attaching bolsters and deciding if you want to do handle scales, where you want to put the screws, because that's a whole nother story and that makes things a lot more complicated. But this is the gist of it. This is the process. It works. This book that I've been writing on top of, I have got so many different papers of different concepts I've drawn. Like these are all different designs. I don't draw the same design twice. And there's only one stack. I have 5 folders in here, and they're all filled with stuff. And they've all been determined using the same technique, and all the knives that I've done so far have been using that same technique, and it works. Something big and crazy like this is just as easy to make happen as something like this. The same technique applies. You know, and I've got all sorts of crazy, like this big thing. Same method. Exactly the same. It works. Because these are all general rules. From A to B has to be shorter than B to C. The area under AB of the blade has to be less than the area above B to C in the handle. General rules. And they work for all designs. They have to work. If they don't work, then you're going to end up getting an edge that comes out the back of the handle, or a point that sticks out like way beyond the handle. You're going to end up getting a knife that looks, it doesn't look right, it doesn't perform right. You end up getting a knife that, when it opens and closes the right way, but it's weak. It's, you know, it has a lot of blade play. It's not strong. It's not durable. If you follow these guidelines and you follow the concepts that are included and that are active in, excuse me, my stomach's been acting up a little bit today. If you follow the concepts and all the guidelines and all the, you know, things that are present in these kinds of mechanical objects, then you can make them work for you, and you can do almost anything you can imagine. Almost anything you can imagine. I don't know the exact number, but I've probably close to 100 or so different designs, different models that I've been tweaking with, and they're all determinate using this method. So that's it. I hope that I hope this is helpful to people out there. Of course, that these and it is still difficult. These things are all still, you know, rather difficult to do. None of it's easy. A lot of it comes with practice, lots and lots of practice. I can't begin to say how many hours I've spent on papers in this book. Some of these designs I've spent about 10 hours working on cumulatively, and over all the papers I probably spent at least 200 hours. So there's quite a lot of time invested. You practice it. You start to get an idea, you start to understand what's going on fundamentally. You stop having to even think about it, and it becomes autonomic. And you can just go boom, 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 and be able to draw everything out and have it work. And you can prove all of it. If you wanted to take this and scan it into a computer design program and set it so that you could physically move the blade, you could see that it all still works. It's exactly the same. All of it's exactly the same. So that's my method. Everything else about my design is subjective. I design my knives to have certain purposes, and there are certain philosophies of design that I prescribe to, and that's why I do a lot of the stuff the way I do. So that's it. My battery is about to die any second, so if you watched this far, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. I hope you learned something useful. If there's any questions, please do not hesitate to comment or to send me a message here on YouTube or on Instagram, which is the same name as my YouTube. I'll try to be as helpful as I can, and yeah, that's about it. Good luck.